Anna is standing outside in the rain. She is shaking.
Wait, Rosa, that is a different story. Let me tell you this one.
The cake is still in the fridge. It is 8 o'clock at night. Dinner is almost finished. Dad opens the fridge and stares. His face changes slowly. Why? Is the cake still here? He asks. Nobody answers right away. Then two small voices speak at the same time.
Because you said don't touch it, Dad.
It started that morning, and it was a very long day for one very beautiful cake. But nobody knew that yet. Dad woke up early that Saturday. He put on his coat and picked up his car keys. "I'll be back in 1 hour," he said to the children. The children were still in their pajamas. They were sitting at the kitchen table eating toast.
"Where are you going?" Lily asked. Lily was 8 years old. She had curly brown hair and big brown eyes. She always asked questions.
"I'm gonna get something special," Dad said with a smile. "What is it?" asked Ben. Ben was 6 years old. He was smaller than Lily, but he was very loud. "You'll see," Dad said. He closed the door and walked to the car.
Lily and Ben looked at each other.
"Something special," Ben said slowly. "I wonder what it is," Lily said. They finished their toast and waited. 1 hour later, Dad came back. He was carrying a big white box. The box had a pink ribbon on top. He walked carefully through the front door. He walked slowly through the living room. He walked very carefully into the kitchen. "What's in the box?" Ben asked. He tried to look inside the box. "Don't touch it," Dad said. He opened the fridge and put the box inside. "It's a birthday cake," he said, "for tonight."
Lily smiled. "Grandma's birthday," she said.
"That's right," Dad said. "So don't touch it, okay? It's for tonight."
"Okay," Lily said.
"Okay," Ben said. Dad nodded. He closed the fridge. He picked up his phone and walked to the living room. He did not know what those two little words would do. "Don't touch it." Those two words were about to cause a very big problem.
Lily stood in front of the fridge. She looked at it very seriously.
Ben stood next to her. He also looked very seriously at the fridge.
"Dad said don't touch it," Lily said. "Yes," Ben said.
"So we don't touch it," Lily said. "Okay," Ben said.
"And nobody else touches it either," Lily said. Ben looked at her.
What do you mean?
"Dad said don't touch it," Lily repeated. "That means nobody touches it."
Ben thought about this. "Not even cut it?" he asked.
Not until Dad says so, Lily said. Okay, Ben said.
He crossed his arms. He looked very serious. "We will protect the cake," he said.
Lily nodded. We will protect the cake, she agreed.
And so it began. The two children stood guard. The cake was in the fridge. The fridge was in the kitchen. And nobody, absolutely nobody, was going to touch that cake. Not yet, anyway. But there was one thing the children did not know. More people were coming, and they were coming very soon. At 11 o'clock in the morning, the doorbell rang.
Lily ran to the door. Ben ran behind her. They opened the door together. It was Aunt Rosa. Aunt Rosa was tall, with short, dark hair. She was wearing a yellow dress. She was carrying flowers and a paper bag. "Hello, hello," she said happily. "I came early to help." She stepped inside and hugged both children. "Is your dad home?" she asked. "He's in the garden," Lily said. Aunt Rosa walked into the kitchen. She put the flowers on the table. She put the paper bag on the counter. Then she opened the fridge. Lily and Ben both moved very fast.
"Stop!" Ben said loudly. Aunt Rosa turned around.
She looked surprised. "What happened?" she asked. "You can't touch the cake," Lily said. Aunt Rosa blinked. "I was just going to put the juice inside," she said. "That's okay," Lily said carefully. "But don't touch the cake." "Which cake?" Aunt Rosa asked.
"The white box," Ben said. "In the fridge. It's the birthday cake."
"Oh," Aunt Rosa said. She smiled. "Of course I won't cut it now. Don't worry." "Good," Lily said. "Good," Ben said. Aunt Rosa looked at them for a moment. They were both watching the fridge very seriously. She smiled a little and put her juice bottle inside. She closed the fridge. She did not touch the cake. Lily relaxed.
Ben relaxed. They looked at each other and nodded. The cake was safe, but the morning was not over yet. And someone else was coming through the front door.
Grandma arrived at noon. She came in a taxi.
Dad went outside to help her with her bag.
Grandma had white hair and warm hands. She always smelled like flowers and tea.
"Happy birthday to me," she sang as she walked inside. Everyone laughed. Grandma sat down at the kitchen table. She looked around the kitchen with a big smile.
"It smells wonderful in here," she said. Aunt Rosa was cooking soup on the stove. "Lunch is almost ready," Aunt Rosa said.
"Perfect," Grandma said. She looked around the kitchen again. "Oh," she said. "Did someone bring a cake?"
"Yes," Ben said proudly. "Dad got it this morning."
How nice, Grandma said. She smiled. Where is it?
In the fridge, Lily said. But you can't touch it, Ben added quickly.
Grandma looked at Ben. I can't touch my own birthday cake? She asked.
Ben opened his mouth. Then he closed it. This was a difficult situation.
Lily stepped forward. She carefully reminded them that Dad had said not to touch it. So we're waiting for Dad to say it's okay.
Grandma looked at Lily. Then she looked at the fridge. She nodded slowly. I see, she said. Good children. She sat back down and did not move toward the fridge.
Lily felt proud. Ben felt proud.
The cake was still safe. Lunch was served. Everyone ate soup and bread. The cake stayed in the fridge.
The white box sat quietly on the shelf behind the juice bottle, waiting. But something had gone wrong, and nobody realized it yet.
After lunch, Dad went outside to the garden again. He was setting up a small table and some chairs. He was thinking about dinner. He was thinking about candles. He was not thinking about the cake at all. He thought everything was fine.
But inside the kitchen, the children were still on guard.
Lily sat at the kitchen table and drew pictures.
Ben sat on the floor near the fridge. He had his arms crossed.
He looked like a very small security guard.
Aunt Rosa came into the kitchen with a cup of tea.
She looked at Ben sitting on the floor.
Ben, she said, why are you sitting there?
Protecting the cake, Ben said simply.
Aunt Rosa looked at the fridge. Then she looked at Ben. It's in the fridge, she said. Nobody can take it from the fridge.
You never know, Ben said.
Aunt Rosa smiled and said nothing more. She sat down at the table with her tea. The kitchen was quiet. Outside, birds were singing.
The afternoon sun came through the window. Everything looked peaceful.
But Aunt Rosa kept thinking about Ben's words.
Protecting the cake. Why did the children think the cake needed protection?
She looked at the fridge. She looked at Ben. She decided to look at the cake brow, just for a moment.
Just to read the message on top.
She stood up slowly. She walked toward the fridge.
She reached for the handle.
No.
Ben jumped up from the floor. Lily looked up from her drawing.
You can't touch it, Ben said firmly.
I'm just gonna look at the message, Aunt Rosa said. The writing on top.
No touching, Ben said. No cutting, Lily added. No touching, no cutting, no looking, Ben said.
Aunt Rosa blinked. No looking? She asked.
Dad said don't touch it, Lily said. So we're being very careful.
Aunt Rosa looked at the children for a long moment. Something was not quite right here. But she couldn't figure out what. She sat back down with her tea. Okay, she said quietly. Okay. She picked up her phone and started typing a message to Dad.
Is the cake a surprise for someone? The children won't let anyone near it.
She pressed send.
But Dad's phone was on the kitchen counter, face down. He was still in the garden. He did not see the message.
The afternoon moved on, and the cake stayed exactly where it was.
Still in the fridge. Still in the white box.
Still untouched.
At 4 o'clock, Grandma walked into the kitchen.
She opened the fridge to get some water. She saw the white box.
She thought about it. She thought about what the children said at lunch.
We're waiting for Dad to say it's okay.
She thought maybe the cake was actually for a neighbor.
Maybe it wasn't her birthday cake at all.
Maybe Dad ordered a cake for someone else, and the children just didn't know. She picked up the white box carefully. She looked at the bottom. She looked at the sides. There was no name on the outside. She put it back. She got her water. She walked back to the living room. She sat down next to the window. "Rosa," she said quietly. Aunt Rosa looked up. "I think the cake might be for the neighbor," Grandma said. Aunt Rosa frowned. "Which neighbor?" "The Chens. It's their daughter's birthday this week, I think."
Aunt Rosa looked toward the kitchen.
"Should we ask the children?" "No," Grandma said. "They seem very protective of it. Maybe it's a surprise for someone."
They both looked toward the kitchen.
The fridge hummed quietly.
The cake sat inside, in the dark, behind the juice bottle. Untouched. Waiting. But waiting for what? Nobody was quite sure anymore. At 5 o'clock, Dad came inside from the garden. He washed his hands. He made a cup of coffee. He sat down on the sofa. He picked up his phone. He saw Aunt Rosa's message. He frowned.
Is the cake a surprise for someone? The children won't let anyone near it.
He typed back, "What do you mean? The cake is for tonight. For Mom's birthday dinner."
Aunt Rosa read his message in the living room. She looked up at Grandma.
The cake is for tonight, she said. For your birthday dinner.
Grandma smiled. "Oh, good. I was worried."
"But the children won't let anyone near it," Aunt Rosa said.
Dad walked into the living room. "What's going on with the cake?" he asked.
Ask your children, Aunt Rosa said, smiling.
Dad walked to the kitchen. Lily was at the table. Ben was on the floor. "Hey," Dad said. "How are you two?"
Good, Lily said. Protecting the cake, Ben said.
Dad looked at Ben. "Protecting it from what?" "From people touching it," Ben said. "Why?" Dad asked.
"Because you said don't touch it," Ben said. He said it like it was very obvious.
Dad sat down. "I said don't touch it yet," he said slowly.
That means wait until tonight, not forever.
Lily looked at him. You just said don't touch it, she said.
I meant wait for tonight, Dad said. For Grandma's dinner.
Ben frowned. You didn't say that part, he said. Dad opened his mouth. Then he closed it.
He thought about this morning.
Don't touch it, okay? It's for tonight.
He looked at Lily. He looked at Ben. He looked at the fridge.
So nobody has eaten any cake? He asked.
Nobody has touched it, Ben said proudly. Not even looked at it, Lily added. Not even Aunt Rosa, Ben said. Or Grandma, Lily said.
Dad was very quiet for a moment. Then his face started to change. The corner of his mouth moved up. Then the other corner moved up. Then his shoulders started to shake. Then he started to laugh. Not a small laugh. A big, warm, wonderful laugh. He put his hand over his face. He laughed and laughed and laughed.
Lily and Ben looked at each other. Dad? Lily said.
Are you okay? Ben asked.
Dad took a deep breath. He wiped his eyes.
You two, he said, are the most careful children in the whole world.
Ben looked serious. We followed your words, he said.
You did, Dad said. You really, really did.
He stood up and walked to the fridge. He opened the door.
He took out the white box. He put it on the kitchen table. He lifted the lid. Inside was the most beautiful cake. It was covered in white frosting.
Pink and yellow flowers were on the sides.
In the middle, in blue writing, it said, "Happy birthday, Grandma. We love you." Ben stared at it. "Oh," he said quietly.
Lily looked at it. Her eyes were wide. It's so pretty, she said.
Dad smiled.
Now, he said, "Go get Grandma and Aunt Rosa. It's time to eat this cake." Ben ran out of the kitchen immediately.
Grandma! Grandma! The cake is allowed now, he shouted.
Lily laughed. Dad laughed again.
Grandma came into the kitchen with Aunt Rosa behind her.
She saw the cake on the table. She put her hands together.
Oh, it's beautiful, she said softly.
"We kept it safe," Ben said proudly.
Grandma looked at Ben, then at Lily, then at Dad.
"Dad,
What happened?
She asked.
we protected the cake," Ben said, "all day. Because Dad said, don't touch it."
Grandma looked at Dad. Dad smiled.
I said wait until tonight, he said. They took it very seriously.
Grandma laughed. It was a warm and happy laugh. All day?
She asked.
All day, Lily said.
Ben sat on the floor in front of the fridge.
Everyone looked at Ben. Ben nodded. "I was the guard," he said.
Grandma laughed again. She put her arm around Ben. She put her other arm around Lily.
You two, she said, are the best grandchildren in the world.
Ben smiled. Lily smiled. Dad went to get the candles from the drawer. They lit the candles on the cake. There were 10 candles. One
For each decade of Grandma's life. The kitchen was warm. The candles made small yellow lights on everyone's faces. Dad started to sing, "Happy birthday to you."
Aunt Rosa joined in.
Then Lily.
Then Ben, very loudly.
Grandma closed her eyes. She made a wish. She blew out all 10 candles. Everyone clapped.
The cake was finally cut.
Aunt Rosa cut the first piece. She put it on a plate and gave it to Grandma.
Then she cut pieces for everyone.
Lily got a piece with a pink flower on top.
Ben got the piece with the blue birthday writing. He was very happy about that. They all sat around the kitchen table. They ate cake.
The fridge hummed quietly in the corner. The white box was open on the counter.
The kitchen smelled like vanilla and candles. It was a very good birthday.
After the cake, Dad looked at Ben. "Did you really sit on the floor in front of the fridge all day?" he asked. "Yes," Ben said. He had frosting on his nose.
Why didn't you ask me what I meant? Dad asked.
Ben thought about this. "Because you said it clearly," Ben said. "Don't touch it."
Dad looked at Lily. "And you?" he asked.
You said don't touch it, Lily said simply. And we made sure nobody else touched it either.
Dad leaned back in his chair. He shook his head slowly. He was still smiling.
"Next time," he said, "I will say exactly what I mean."
Good idea, Lily said. Everyone laughed.
Grandma patted Dad's hand. "You taught them well," she said.
"Too well," Dad said.
No, Grandma said warmly. Exactly well.
She looked at the children. They listened to every word.
Dad looked at Ben.
Ben was licking frosting off his fork.
Dad looked at Lily. Lily was carefully eating her piece with the pink flower.
She was eating around the flower first, saving it for last.
Dad felt something warm in his chest. A good kind of warm.
The kind that comes when you realize something important. His children had spent all day protecting a cake because he told them to.
Not because someone made them. Not because they were afraid.
Just because he said so. And they took his words seriously. Every single one.
Later that night, after Grandma and Aunt Rosa had gone home, Dad sat on the sofa.
Lily came and sat next to him. Ben climbed up on the other side.
White cake box was in the recycling bin. The last piece of cake was in the fridge, covered with plastic wrap. Untouched. Waiting.
Dad laughed quietly. "There's still one piece left," he said.
I know, Lily said. I saw it.
"Should we eat it?" Dad asked. "Tomorrow," Ben said immediately. "For breakfast."
Dad looked at Ben.
Cake for breakfast?
"You didn't say we couldn't," Ben said. Dad thought about this.
That's true, he said.
I didn't say that.
So we can, Ben said simply. Dad laughed again. Okay, he said. Cake for breakfast tomorrow. Ben nodded. He looked satisfied.
Lily smiled. She leaned against Dad's arm.
Ben leaned against his other arm. The house was warm. Outside, the street was quiet. Inside, 3 people sat on a sofa.
One was thinking about how to speak more clearly next time. 2 were thinking about cake. The next morning, Dad opened the fridge. He took out the last piece of cake. He put it on the table. He got 3 forks. He called Lily and Ben. They came downstairs in their pajamas. They looked at the table. They looked at the cake. They looked at Dad. Cake for breakfast, Dad said. They sat down. They picked up their forks. Wait, Ben said suddenly. He looked at Lily. He looked at Dad. Are we allowed to touch it? He asked. He was completely serious. Dad stared at him for 1 full second. Then he laughed so hard he had to hold the table.
Lily laughed. Ben looked confused.
Then he smiled. Then he laughed too. They ate the cake together, all 3 of them. At the kitchen table, on a quiet Sunday morning. It was the best piece of cake any of them had ever had.